Hi, I'm Michael Senoff, founder and CEO of HardToFindSeminars.com. For the last 5 years, I've interviewed the world's best business and marketing minds. Now my challenge is to build the world's largest free resource for online, downloadable audio business interviews. I've learned a lot in the last 5 years, and today I'm going to show you the skills you need to survive. Hi, this is Michael Senoff with HardToFindSeminars.com and Consulting Secrets. Here's a recording with a gentleman who is interested in my HMA training system. We cover a lot of materials here in this recording, and I hope it answers some of your questions about the HMA system.
Tom.
Hey, Tom, it's Mike Senoff out in San Diego.
Hey, Michael, how you doing?
I'm real good. How about yourself?
Not bad.
First of all, let me ask you this. How much of the HMA recordings have you heard online?
I would say over the last 3 weeks, I've looked at pretty much everything I could find. I've dug pretty deep.
All right, so you got into the Consulting Secrets section.
Yeah, you had a couple extra emails, and actually yesterday I stumbled on a zip file that looked like it had about 20 other things in it. I scanned through most of that.
Those are all free reports. You can use those for your own benefit without anything. When you become an HMA consultant, you get the resale rights to all those. So it's a lot of intellectual property that I've put together and that I invested in master resale rights for. A lot of great content to help you in your business, so you don't have to recreate all this stuff.
Good stuff. And to answer your question more directly, I've probably listened to 4 or 5 hours of MP3s.
Okay, good. All right, I see here in your email you looked again recently when I was recommending Martin Howey's information. Yeah, that was last year this time. That was really my first experience with doing a joint venture with another information product marketer, and that was Martin Howey. And as you know, he was promoting a training, how to be a marketing consultant. Joint ventures can be tricky, and we had some disagreements, and then it was just a real big mess. And it was a good learning experience, but it didn't work out with him. But at the same time, I had a lot of people, probably like yourself, who were still interested in consulting, and I was really fortunate to find Richard. And he had been doing this 15 years, as you know, and so I've teamed up with him, and that's what you're looking at right now. You had a few questions. Number one, the HMA University. It looks good from what you've seen as far as the samples, and I like the support, the 6 months free. How much after that? After the 6 months, I charge $300 a month if you feel like you still want access to the HMA University. And so you heard some samples of the HMA University interviews with existing marketing consultants, existing HMA students. I'm continually adding to that content. If you want to get involved in the HMA system and you're going to go all out, 6 months, and you're going to be able to download everything in there in MP3, so you've got access to it all. You can load it onto your hard drive, and then you have everything. And there is probably about over 30 hours of content right now.
I think you mentioned in one of your MP3s that you're wanting to obviously leverage your time and duplicate them.
I'm continuing doing that, and even with the consultants. So, for instance, we've got a consultant who's been doing the HMA program for about 3 or 4 months. His name's Kevin Fort. He was stationed in Okinawa. He's 20-something years old. Military guy, so a lot of discipline, and really eager to get his consulting business going. Has no formal consulting experience, and I have now 5-part audio recording from the very first time I talked to him to all his concerns, to him going out there hitting the streets, not screwing up bad, but making mistakes because he was hungry to get a client. It's almost like the real world. Starting from scratch, you're going to have growing pains in anything depending on your experience, but this guy was totally green, and you hear his problems, and then I would get Richard on a 3-way call. So it'd be Richard, myself, and Kevin reviewing what he's doing, what he could be doing better, what he's doing wrong, and just guiding him as if you would have the same problems. Anyone who would start like him would have the same problems. It's called the Kevin Fort Project, and that's in the HMA University. You've got 5 hours, and we're following along his actual case studies. I'm excited to hear from him, hopefully today, because he had sent out a 1-page endorsement letter. He had a bookkeeper send it out to all their clients, and he had a group presentation scheduled, and I want to hear the results of how that went. So this is the kind of stuff, and then ongoing interviews that would relate and help your consulting business. I'm always adding to that content. So you have transcripts downloadable, and you can play this stuff.
That's certainly valuable, and if it's getting somebody started, that's great. great, but depending on what direction you go with this thing, that can be support for you and possibly your people or whatever.
Yeah, and it doesn't end there. If you've got problems, you've got questions, you pick up the phone. I'm pretty attentive, especially with the HMA consultants who invest this kind of money. You don't wait days to hear back from me. I get back with you usually within an hour. I work out of my home, so when my kids are asleep and my wife's sleeping, I'm up usually till 12 or 1 sometimes. I'm always in front of the computer unless I'm taking the kids to school or picking them up or what have you. So I am available. And then Richard's available too. So for instance, Kevin Ford was having a problem developing his USP. I go, hold on, Kevin, let's see if we can get Richard. And I got him right away. He took the time. We were on the phone for 30 minutes and we straightened him out. And that stuff, Richard knows I'm always recording, and that is what we agreed on to offer the support. But if you had something really pressing, I'll put you in touch with Richard. He'd be glad to help you. I'll help you out the best I can, or the other consultants if we can hook someone up with you. Number 2, I think learning this business as a technician is best, and maybe that's enough for most, and maybe even for me. What other avenues could a person do to extend their reach, leverage the information, so as to not have to work in the field forever? Obviously, with many models, like employees, there is downside. Your brief thoughts would be appreciated. So are you saying, how could you get into this business and maybe work at the beginning and kind of coast along and still be able to make money as a consultant?
Well, I don't know about coast along, but certainly there's a point in my mind I've always looked for what is the next step. I'm a guy like you. I certainly could live on the phone and live in front of my computer and work out of my house. I've got 3 kids with number 4 on the way, and to go out and do face-to-face stuff, I've done enough of that. To be able to do it, to know that I'll do it and can do it, and I do enjoy certain parts of that. But is there life after that?
Yes, there is, okay? And it's about doing the work one time and then creating a system and being able to duplicate your work. Let me ask you, what is your expertise? What have you been doing? I saw the Fresh Air Living. Is that a multi-level thing or a distributorship?
We're kind of a hybrid. It's a manufacturer. We have direct selling. We do have a networking component. I have a technical background. I have an engineering degree. I did safety inspections and engineering. I ran a growing family business for 10 years in the wellness industry.
What was it specifically?
We had a naturopathic doctor and 4 nutritionists and staff in a 3,000-item store and 200 package a month mail order nationally and a number of things. I ran the whole business into that, and we grew from about $250,000 a year gross home business to about $1.6 million our last year before we sold everything.
So you sold it all out?
Well, actually, my mother was the doctor, and she suddenly passed away and not duplicated her enough. So we sold the clients to the nutritionist, we sold the store to the store manager, and some other assets another direction. There was not enough left there for me to do. So I've been doing this for 3 years.
How's the air purifying units going?
The technology is great. The marketing is great. What I've come to the conclusion is that to do this more than, say, 30, 35 hours a week drives me insane. And I'll give you an example. I am also a runner, and I'm trying to get into things like triathlon. I can only do running and things like that so many hours a week, and my body starts breaking down. If I'm on the phone recruiting and training more than a certain number of hours a week, I get grumpy. I need to do something a little more cerebral.
My answer to that question would be, how do you leverage yourself? And it would be, instead of being a consultant to anyone and everybody, you would niche your consulting practice. I'll give you an example, just something off the top of my head. It may not be something you're into, but it would be good for an example. And that would be, let's say you were a internet marketing consultant. So all the 7 steps that we talk about in a brick or mortar business could easily be transferred to an internet online business or an online store, because creating and developing the USP has to be shown online on the web pages. It's got to be integrated in all aspects of the web business. What's nice is you can operate this anywhere in the world as long as they're speaking English, unless you know some other languages. But all aspects of the system can work for an online business, a virtual business. Hi, it's Michael Senoff with HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching this video. You know, many of my interviews last 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, sometimes even up to 2.5 hours long. They're actual mini seminars, and you've just listened to a short sample of just one of over 117 hours of exciting, hard-hitting, mind-blowing interviews on how to make money in direct mail, advertising, copywriting. I assure you, there is not a resource anywhere on the internet or on the planet that comes close to the free information I provide at HardToFindSeminars.com. So go right now to HardToFindSeminars.com hardtofindseminars.com, and you'll have free access to 117 hours of audio interviews with typed word-for-word downloadable transcripts and downloadable MP3 files. Please browse some more of the videos or go right directly to hardtofindseminars.com. Thanks for watching.